Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gujarat National Law University Legal Services Committee, the podcast. My name is Mohammed Rehan from GNLU LSE, here to host today's episode. And it is with immense pleasure and honor that today we are joined by the Revered Honorable Justice P.N. Prakash. How are you doing today, sir?
Very fine, Mohammed. Extremely fine.
Justice Prakash here was a former judge at the Madras High Court for almost a decade, distinguished for the 69,190 cases that he has disposed during his tenure. He is currently designated by the Supreme Court of India as a senior advocate, and prior to his judicial stint, worked predominantly as a public prosecutor for several state and national law enforcement agencies. Most important for all, he is a teacher of law and currently the editor of the Madras Law Journal. Justice Prakash brings decades of legal experience encompassing all sides of the table and will be sharing his perspective on the topic of today's discussion. Thank you so very much for taking your time out today, sir.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you.
Today's theme of discussion is gender-based and domestic violence. Now, this is a very broad topic, so we've made a compilation of questions here we are hoping you could shed some light upon. But this topic remains one of the most pressing issues in our society, one that is fueled with heated debates and demands that prompt resolution. Are there any thoughts before we continue, sir, on the theme of today's discussion?
Nothing much. It's a very contemporary topic, and has been there for quite some time. So we can proceed with this.
Okay, sir. Perfect. Let us start off with something that is very elementary. Could you please tell us what, according to you, gender-based violence means as a concept? And specifically, what kind of offenses or violence would you categorize as gender-based?
See, Mohammed, this gender-based violence, this terminology, for us, when I was a public prosecutor, as you said, for about 15 years and a defense lawyer, then I became a judge. In my career, these jargons are really were not known to me. They're not known to us. We looked at violence as violence, any violence. So this gender-based violence, gender thing and all are mostly people outside the judiciary when they view it. But see, when something happens, when a violence takes place, from where you stand and look, that matters. Supposing you stand and look from one side, you look at it as a gender-based. Sometimes you look at another. For us, violence is violence. It's just a violence. It has to be. There cannot be any compromise on that. Then the question is the nature of violence would make, for example, a rape take. So the gruesome manner in which it is committed would weigh in our minds while determining the sentence and other things. But the terminology, gender-based and all, are something which normally are used by activists. It's an activist slogan. I was not an activist. I was a judge. I was a public prosecutor. I was a lawyer. So as a matter of fact, we used to deal with this on a case-to-case basis. So now, from what I learned reading all this material, this gender-based violence is a violence inflicted on a person just because he belongs to a particular gender. That is what the activists say. Okay, you belong to this. Violence is done mainly because you are a woman. This violence is done mainly because you're LGBTQ. So like that, it is being branded. But these ideas are all activist ideas. For us, violence is violence. Nothing, no compromise on that.
Okay, sir. That makes a lot of sense. But let us look at it from, say, a socio-legal perspective. Like when we say gender-based violence or, the larger concept of violence, what is something that you think the layman or the larger society gets wrong that is a very important consideration in the legal field?
All right. Supposing from society's angle, in the society there are opinion makers. There are opinion makers. So supposing there are certain forms of violence which are on the construct of it itself is gender based. For example, dowry. Let's take dowry thing. The way our Indian society is framed, the way it is constructed. I have done cases where women used to commit self-immolation or some fall in the railway track and die. These sort of cases, lots of such cases, I have had as a prosecutor as well. I've seen thing. So these are all cases where you can say they are gender based because it happened only to women. It happens to the thing that she gets married and goes, and then she's subjected to this harassment. She either commits suicide or something happens at the matrimonial home. Is from the society's point of view, society as such, uh, these are practices which are entrenched in society. There are certain practices in our society which are entrenched. Now, because of a lot of changes that is happening, empowerment of women, empowerment of girls and boys, to a very large extent, I can say that this is all coming down. But still, I have not said completely eradicated. It is there. So, I would. Can you call that as gender based? Because it is so deeply in the mind of our people that okay, I get married means I mean I give my son for a wedding to a girl means okay, how much dowry you're bringing? The girl may be a well-educated girl or anything like that. Doesn't really matter. My son is an so and so is an IAS officer, a judge, or a lawyer, whatever it is. And what is that you would bring home? So these are all concepts which are so deeply entrenched in our subconscious mind that violence happens when that is not met with, when the demand is not met with, violence happens. One says society, when the violence happens, see, the problem in India, I'd always felt that very emotional people we are. When the violence takes place, we all gang up with we all raise voices, raise our voice for the victim. Then you see after some time, the entire paradigm shift takes place wherein you shift from the victim is forgotten, all sympathies for the accused goes. This let us take Rajiv Gandhi assassination case, which I had to do. I was there in the trial. I was when I was a lawyer. It was there. There was a lot of noise when Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated, with 17 people dying. Over a period of time, we are now asking for the release. Ultimately, the people who were convicted have been released. Society has accepted that. So, socio-legal aspect in India is little different from that prevails, obtains in certain other societies. Our society, I find that very emotional people, there'll be oscillation this way, that way. And this is what is I've experienced. The initial brunt will be there. That initial thing will be there. So everybody will make noise. And after some time, the husband becomes a martyr, or the entire thing shifts in favor of the victim, the accused. And the victim is just slides down. So society, socio-legal aspect is this society, as far as law is concerned, it can't just to be applied as it is. It can't tailor itself to the needs of society. If society is going to ask for the blood of someone, then law cannot. All right, there's so much of public opinion. Law will be more thing that can't be done in law. I hope. I think I've answered your.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That makes complete sense. In fact, I was just thinking when you said initially that the society's kind of sympathy lies with the victim, and then it kind of transitions on to the accused. Now, let us keep that in end. When it is on the victim per se, ultimately, it is the victim whose rights has been violated, right? It is the victim who is seeking some sort of remedy through law. Where do you think the victim faces a hurdle for this? And when society's sympathy is with the victim, does that strengthens the victim's ability to get a remedy from law? Or do you think that adds extra pressure that actually hinders the victim's right to a remedy? Like, we're looking at it from a victim's perspective here. What do you think because ultimately they're the ones seeking remedy. So what do you think their perspective is? Where do they face challenges, etc.? Is there anything that
See, they see some of the challenges. I'll tell you very frankly. Our society itself is a very little feudalistic, or more feudalistic, more patriarchal and hierarchical society. So, uh, uh, if you see then the victim, from which strata of the society the victim comes, that also really matters in the country. It's not like there's no uniformity. If the victim comes from a very low strata of society, then everyone gangs up with the accused, and it becomes very a nightmare for the victim to swim through the system and get justice. It really becomes a system is little patriarchal. There's no doubt about it. I will not say that thing. The patriarchal thing is still there, and what is wrong? What did he do? So that bias, here the bias comes, the various bias comes. So that way we find that it's little difficult for a victim. It depends upon which how influential the victim is, how rich the victim is, or what society she comes from. All that matters to wade through the labyrinth of this system. It's pretty difficult. I can tell
okay?
so many instances I've seen, so many practical things. Nirbhaya case and all was taken up because it's a huge public opinion.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I'm sure that case also would have gone like any other case.
Oh, okay, okay. Uh, I mean, obviously, this is concerning to an extent, but from a system perspective, the legal system, do you think there is any reform that the system could take in itself to improve the situation? Say, suppose the victim is from a marginalized or a very low income community. What can the system do, or how can the system change so that these internal biases can be eradicated?
See, Mohammed, system is an inanimate thing, no? See, system, a court system or thing, it gets life from the human beings who sit in it, isn't it?
Correct, sir.
Let's
Correct.
take, see, as a public prosecutor, the post is an inanimate. It's a thing. You have a sensitive public prosecutor sitting in it. He will understand the thing, and he will present the case with a sense of with a lot of sensitivity, approach the case to it. If you are a judge, the that system, the seat itself is the seat by itself can't deliver justice. There's some human being has to sit in the seat. What is his thing? So I think more than the system. See, you can remove committal proceedings. You can straight like all these POXO cases. This POXO Act removes all the other legal hurdles. And earlier and all, you have to committal. I don't know whether you have to, the charge will be filed. Committal will happen. All that will happen. You cut short Sean of all this. You try to expedite the whole system. SC/ST Act. See, you take scheduled caste and scheduled rape atrocities act. The victims are more women from that community who are in this caste and communal violence and all. The brunt of it is where, see, understand, Mohammed. The two people face the brunt of all violence: children and women. That's everywhere it is, whether it is Gaza or whether it is Ukraine or whether it is your own thing. The first will be women and children. They'll be affected. Then you try to have you fast track the whole thing and all right, on paper it is very fine. You remove the committal proceedings, you all that you do, but at the end of the day, the humans who are piloting the system, as long as they lack that sensitivity, they lack that sort of a thing, it's very very difficult to get justice for the victim. That's a problem. The problem I really found is not the system, but humans' failure of system. Humans.
Okay.
That's what I sometimes feel. Not many of the times I feel. You
Okay.
can't
Yeah.
separate. See, SCST Act has a very fast tracking provisions there. Committal, no committal is there, this, and that. But at the end of the day, and victim compensation is there, everything is there. But somewhere, so many factors come into our system, or sometimes, or maybe the mindset is still that the mindset. A Hindu Muslim right takes place. Who are the victims first? Women are the victims first. Men will run away and go. They'll set fire to houses and run away and go. Who gets thing? Children, weak people. Children can't be thing. So somewhere, Mohammed, I used to think that. I mean, this just out, maybe out of the context which I'm thinking. Of late, I feel that law of the jungle. What is the law of jungle, Mohammed? Law of jungle: struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. Is it not?
Hmm. Yeah.
This is the jungle law. And we have come from the animals. We have evolved from our immediate cousins with chimpanzees. From there we have come. And our face was like this. Our face has become like this prefrontal cortex growing and the reasoning power thing there. So after we have this biological evolutionary thing, we have shifted from struggle for existence to survival of the fittest, from that theory or from that principle of life to struggle for existence is there, but protection of the weakest is our dharma, not
Mhm.
survival of the fittest. See, survival of the fittest is that the old elephant will just allow the herd will allow the old elephant to slowly die and be eaten by the thing. Human society has been carved to protect the weakest, the
Mhm.
parents, old parents, grandparents, women, children. From that principle has still not been taught in law colleges or somewhere to ingrain into our deep into a subconscious mind that boss, you are human because your principle in life is to survival of the fittest will be there. You'll have to go run for your food, everything. And after all that, you bring back your food home and feed your wife, your children, protect them. That is it. Protection, your father, your grandfather, whatever it is. Generally, I'm saying. So that is that when that is lost, any amount of law, any amount of crying from the rooftop will not be a insurance against violence. See, it's ultimately in the mind. Violence starts in the mind. Then it translates into gender-based violence. First violence comes, Muhammad. Then
Mhm.
you justify it by saying, "Oh, it was a Hindu-Muslim fight. It was a Dalit, though in caste violence or communal violence or whatever it is." Gemination of violence is in the mind.
Fair enough, sir. Fair enough.
That's what that
Coming
is the experience I've seen.
No, sir, it completely makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, violence is the birth child of
Hmm.
someone's mind. It is not inherently present in society. It is something that is created inside the mind, right?
Inside the mind. I think
Yeah.
somewhere, even in United Nations, the charter or somewhere I read, remember, violence begins in the mind, or Mahatma Gandhi, someone, I don't know, I'm not able to recollect the quote, thing, but it's there, that then translates into gender violence, violence against children, violence against parents, violence against caste, I mean, violence in a caste thing, communal violence, caste violence.
Yes, sir. That makes perfect sense. Let us just come back to the main focus of our theme for a little bit. We were discussing about victims, right? And societal pressures on victims. Now, again, because of the court of public opinion, what society at large feels, sometimes victims feel a little hostile or they feel a little insecure or essentially they feel uncomfortable with complying with the system that we have developed. So from a judicial perspective, as a judge who's looking to remedy the matter, how would you navigate such a situation where the victim is feeling uncomfortable because of the society at large?
Perfectly right, Mohammed. We have not built compassionate institutions, Mohammed. Let us take the first institution is police.
Mm.
See, because today our people feel that a policeman is the first resort to anyone. Supposing your neighbor is going to encroach into your land and build a wall, what would you do? You first go to the police station and complain. You don't immediately think of the high court judge, or you don't think of the municipal or magistrate. Or police is the executive arm of the state, and it is to protect you. Today, that institution itself is under a lot of suspect. So women or anyone first are scared to go to a police station to give a complaint. Scared. The very setup of the police station itself gives you. See how many because I not only seeing films, your practical interaction with the police is very. I'm sure no one would really wish to go to police station. It's not a place to go. You would rather go to a cafeteria and have a cup of coffee. You see the freedom with which you enter a cafeteria or a hotel or had thing. Don't you do you have that thing to enter into police station and interact with your inspector?
No, sir,
No,
definitely.
definitely not. That he doesn't inspire confidence. Shall I, if you have time, shall I give you one small anecdote which experienced?
Yes,
I
sir,
mean,
please, please. Go ahead.
I was after my retirement. I was in Singapore with my daughter for some time, a long time. I was in Singapore, so I had a lot of time at my hand. So I just was going around. Thing I saw in police station. I entered the police station, introduced myself as a former judge of the Madras High Court, and I was found a lady police officer interrogating a man in a. I could see it across the glass window. She was interrogating him for a very long time. After that, she came out of the thing. I just asked her, Madam, what is the case? I'm so and so. I'm a judge. I'm very interested to know about it. You know what she said, sir? This man is a taxi driver, a cab driver. A customer got into his car and $20 was the charges. He ran away without paying $20. So yes, $20 is a very large amount for a taxi driver, sir. So he was doesn't know read and write. I was trying to get it. By today evening, I will find out who that fellow had taken with and get it back, sir. She said, "My God, this was lying is my back. It was there." Then I came 2 3 months back to Chennai, and when I went for my morning walk, I used to say hello to most of these vendors. So there was a coconut tender, coconut, fresh coconut water. So I stopped to take a thing and ask him. So he said, "Sir, I don't have the knife." I said, "Then what happened to your knife?" He said, "I told him." He told me, "Sir, last month my knife I kept here. One fellow had taken it and gone." I said, "Then how are you managing?" "Sir, my son-in-law is having about 100 meters away on shop. So half an hour he will use a knife, half an hour I use a knife, and that's why we share the knife for thing." "Then did you tell the police?" I asked. I went and told the police. Sir, they caught hold of that fellow and they caught hold of my knife also, but they are not giving me a knife. So this really bothered me a lot. I just came back, called the police inspector, and simply told him, "You have taken the knife of this fellow and you recovered it even. You have not even prosecuted that offender because, according to you, is a drug addict who would want to take the knife and sell it for a peanuts. How much that knife would have fetched for this for the iron? It would have fetched about 20 rupees or 50 rupees. That's all. So, but I know that you are going to use this knife to fix some other accused in a murder case. You better return the knife by today evening, or I'll take it." You may not believe, Mohammed. That evening, that fellow got the knife. He got the
Wow.
knife.
Oh,
And I wrote an article in MLG Criminal where I'm an editor. My experience, I think this it is published. All my articles are published. So it's a live experience. What I saw in Singapore that an inspector was able to $20 is for that. It was taking half an hour to get that fellow's complaint, take it down, and she came out and said, "In by evening I will find out who that fellow is and get him, sir. $20 is too large an amount for a man who loses a life for 1 month. He's sharing a knife. That means he doesn't have the money to buy a new knife. A new knife will cost about 1,200, 1,300 thing. He's sharing with his son-in-law with about 100 meters. So this is a live thing. This happens. I was wondering, where are these people? Where is this police system gone? Why couldn't the policeman hand over the knife to him? So put a woman now. Somebody who's been molested in a bus. Would she dare to go to the police inspector and give a complaint? And we have filled the police station with women police. I don't think they're any better than the men police. Because we thought that, okay, all right, come on, let us fill these police stations with these women inspectors, women sub-inspectors. My God, sometimes I feel the men inspectors and women, they're far better than these women inspectors. This is our experience. This experience of day to day, every month. Oh, where is the system thing? Then you come to the court. Court is another big institution where you are fleeced from top to thing. You're literally torn apart. The way you're treated by the court staff, the way they look at you when you're thing, as if it's very depressing. So institutionally, we have not built institutions that are compassionate. Supposing when a judge was a former judge is able to command the respect and get a knife, means how feudalistic it is.
Got it, sir. Got it.
Because
Yeah, I mean,
there's fellows know, next I'll speak to the DGP. They know that I'll speak to the higher powers. So they don't want to antagonize me. So this just this example I'm giving about the mindset. So when the mindset is like that, where will these poor girls, whoever is molested, will go and give a complaint, subject themselves to the ignominy of trial here and all.
fair enough, sir. Anyway, sir, I have to bear apologies, but that is all the time that we have for today.
Yeah.
But the comments that you have given here today are moving, and I hope that this simple interaction of information can have a much larger effect and among those cogs that need moving in order to further the goals of our system. Thank you so much, Justice P.N.
Thank you.
Prakash, for your valuable time here today. It is on this note that we wrap up today's discussion. Thank you, everyone, for listening in, and it has been a pleasure to host you all.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
wish
sir.
you best. I wish all the students of university to come up as good lawyers, be compassionate, and that is will that's a good thing for rather than laws and other things. All right.
Thank you.